When you're watching a movie in English, the worst thing that can happen is not that you will misunderstand something. It's that if you misunderstand, feel guilty, and then stop watching. Misunderstanding is part of life, and you shouldn't expect to always understand everything. When somebody is telling you a story and you don't understand something, you just ask them to repeat. And then if at the end you still don't understand what they meant, you figure, well, there might be something wrong with how they are telling the story. And it is the same with movies. If you want to enjoy a movie but also be productive and understand everything, so you put on subtitles and you're reading instead of watching, now you're not enjoying the movie, you're just doing the homework. And if your approach to watching movies is like doing homework, then of course you will expect the best of you, and of course you'll feel guilty and anxious for not doing 100%. And this is how you enter into a vicious circle. What do I mean by that? If you're watching a movie, if you haven't understood everything and feel guilty, then the next time you want to watch something, you will actually feel anxious even before you begin, which will make you less likely to actually watch it. And that will make you more likely to not watch anything at all, which is likely to make you feel guilty for not doing anything. So either way, you will feel bad. I would like to give you two examples from everyday life that hopefully will show that understanding individual words does not always mean understanding the story. So the first one is this. When you're telling a story that somebody else has told you, you're not just repeating the words. That's rarely the case. You are imagining the story, imagining the thing that had happened to them, and you're describing it using your own words. Think of how at schools teachers would always tell you to use your own words when you're telling about something. Because when you're just repeating the words, it's obvious that you memorized it and you haven't really understood the topic. Then you probably know somebody who, when telling a story, always makes it really, really long, and you're listening, you're understanding every single word, but you don't see where it's coming. You have no idea what to expect. And you know that unless you hear this ending, unless you hear the punchline, you will not understand what was in the beginning. These two examples show that understanding every single word does not always mean understanding the story. But language is also important, and here are three difficulties to bear in mind when you are choosing what to watch. And the first thing is that you should remember that a movie is many actors, and many actors means many accents. And I don't just mean American or British. In one country there are multiple accents, and one American actor might sound completely different from a different American actor. If you understand Leonardo DiCaprio, it does not mean that you will automatically understand Matthew McConaughey, let's say. So when you are saying that you didn't understand a movie in English, it's not all truth. What you should think of is you didn't understand a movie in 5, 7 or 10 variants of English, which is a completely different thing. The second difficulty is if you like watching dramas, especially romantic dramas. They tend to use a very poetic language, and so the way people speak in dramas is not completely the same to the way people speak in everyday life. They will use a lot of double meanings, innuendos, hidden messages. So you might understand the words, but you might not understand what they're trying to say. And it's not because you don't know English, it's just the type of language they're using. Plus, dramas like war films or films about catastrophes, they obviously have a lot of extra noise. And there, you don't have a lot of dialogues normally, you will have short phrases which are shouted and not spoken. Difficulty number 3 is movies with a non-linear plot. It's movies which begin with the ending of the story, or where the middle is missing, or the ending is somehow the beginning. Think of Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, which opens with the ending of the story. And to understand the whole narrative, you have to watch the movie from the very beginning to the very end and really pay attention. There are a lot of movies which, a lot of dramas too, like maybe Shutter Island, where there are names, dates, there are some details which are crucial to understanding the whole point. And also the ending is very important. So there's just a lot of extra difficulty that lies in understanding the story, and it's not only in how good your English is. With that all in mind, what can you do? Well, because movies are many actors and many accents, I would recommend to get used to understanding one person. If you have a hobby or if you want to learn to do something, you can watch somebody explain this. There are a lot of channels with so-called talking head videos, like this one here, and by watching the same person for weeks you can actually understand every single word that this person is saying, and then move on to the second person and then to the third, and in no time will you get used to almost every accent there is on the internet. Also, if you like learning about different facts about science, you can watch animated videos. Channels like TED or School of Life or Kurzgesagt, where they use a lot of visuals that will help you understand what they are telling. Also, if you like to follow a life of a movie star or a sportsman, sportswoman, you can watch interviews with them. If you like somebody's lifestyle, you can watch their vlogs. And it's okay to focus for a few months on just one person, because it will give you this improvement that will motivate you to keep on going. And in a year you'll be able to tackle more accents, more difficulties, and then in, let's say, 2 years roughly, it's random numbers, in 2 years you'll be able to watch any movie you like. The next step that you can take would be series. Series are like movies, so again you have many actors, but because the story is longer, there are many episodes, you can get used to all of these actors. And because every episode usually tells a separate story, it's rarely the case that the plot is non-linear, so it's easy to follow, and you can actually get used to expecting what's coming. There will be fewer surprises, which would mean more understanding. Also, if you're watching a series, it is easier to track your progress. You can really see how by season 5 you understand much more than you understood when watching season 1. But there is one caveat. Shows like Friends is very often recommended for English learners, and I also recommend it, but I recommend it with this caveat, that they use a lot of the English is great, but they use a lot of references to the pop culture, which we Europeans are not really familiar with. And especially if it's a show like Friends, which is more than 20 years old, they might actually use some references to the past reality, and not even many Americans will be familiar with what they're talking about. Okay, and at the end, I would like to also tell you what you shouldn't do. The first thing is you shouldn't really use subtitles, because, as we established in the beginnings, that just doesn't give you much. Words are not that important, and when you use subtitles, you're reading them instead of watching a movie, and something which you might have understood without the subtitles, now you think that you understood it because you're using the subtitles. So now you're putting yourself down, thinking that your English is worse than it actually is. Another thing is writing down new words. Some people believe that if they will write down words, it will make it easier for them to remember these new words. It is true, but movies are not the best place to do it. Writing is good for other tasks. But again, as we said in the beginning, watching cinema should not be your task. It should be entertainment, it should be art that you enjoy. It's not homework.